Welcome, everybody. We have all gathered today to celebrate Safaa Fathy's magnificent new book titled Al-Hashish that came out recently from University of Panama. Oh my God, I'm talking about my own book. I'm so sorry. Which came out recently from Pamanor Press. The link is available. I hope Khashayar is going to drop the link there. Please order your own copy. It's a beautiful, exquisite book. Uh, and Hashish is to tell you a little about the book. It's a multilingual long poem that draws an inspiration from the film that Safa Fatih's made. It's an experimental film titled Hidden Valley that you can watch the film also through the Paminar Press YouTube channel, and it's available. For your viewing. It's a beautiful film, and we are honored to have a lineup of very, very distinguished guests and poets with us today, all of whom will be sharing their own work and as well as read an excerpt from Al Hashish to help us launch this book. Among them are Ghazal Mossadegh, Sarah Riggs, Anne Waldman, Elizabeth Willis, and of course Safa Fathy. It's important to note that this book and these readers have all come together as part of a writing group that was actively collaborating and translating together since at least 2020, and their journey began during the Tamas Symposium of Translation, where they work collectively on a project initiated first by Ghazal Mossadegh. And in this collaborative project, they also translated and found magic books into their own poetic expressions. Their collective work was later published by Litmus Press as part of READ Journal or Read in 2021. Beyond this initial project, this group has continued to work and think together through the various things that we have gone through since at least 2020 and the global pandemic. And indeed, it's this group of people who have come together to contribute their insight and help Pamanor promote the book by writing the blurb for Safa Fathy's beautiful book. Um, we have lined up the poet as Ghazal would read first, followed by Sarah Riggs, and followed by Elizabeth Willis and Anne Waldman, and the last poet would of course be Safa Fatih's. Um, if you have any question, comment, thoughts, um, anything you want to share with the readers or with the audience, feel free to post them in the chat group. And we at the last part after Safa reads from their work, we will have some of these reviewed, and we'll get back to you and start the conversation. And so say a few words about Ghazal Mossadegh, who will talk about the editing process of bringing this book together, and who is also the founder of Pamanor Press. I know Ghazal Mossadegh through Elizabeth Willis, who was my professor at the workshop. Ghazal was introduced to me by Elizabeth Willis because we speak the same language, and introduced us. So she felt the need to introduce two poets together, and ever since we haven't ceased to stop. We haven't ceased to seek social and aesthetic allegiances. And we have worked ever since over very many of them little administrative projects. But also what's so valuable for me is to see Ghazal bring together these various facets of her life into Pamanor Press, her work as a poet, as a translator, as a publisher, and as a Persian in diaspora and a friend, and turning all into an activism for keeping the experimental tradition of English poetics alive and going by publishing very experimental books and new approaches to thinking about poetry and what it means to write in this time. Um, so I'll have Ghazal talk about the editing process of the book a little bit, and they will also delight us with some of their own works, which I'm really excited to hear more.
Thanks so much, Hajar. That's very nice. And thanks for everyone here. So as Hajar said, we're here to launch this fantastic book and lucky to have Safaa here to read from it later. Just to tell you a little bit about Al-Hashish, is that the book starts with this quote explaining the title of the book. Al-Hashish, Arabic word, plural of hashish, dry grass. Also, the unborn child, petrified in its mother's womb. The well-known drug. That's the explanation of the book that keeps us thinking. And hashish as grass, as a petrified child, and as a well-known drug, lead us through this journey of places and language that Safaa takes us in this long poem. The book is reminiscent of Walter Benjamin's Über Hashish. Both are having the same name, which is many similarities between these two texts. One can be the fragmentary nature of these two texts, and one could be the use of hashish, whether it's linguistically or it's actually the drug, as a catalyst of interpretation. This book interprets the surrounding through the hashish, and both texts also share the sense of otherness heavily in both of them. And I think later when Safaa reads and the friends in the group will read excerpts of that, it will become more obvious. This book, as Hajar said, is based on Safaa's experimental film, Hidden Valley, made in 2007. And this film is on our YouTube, but also many of Safaa's films are on Tamas Foundation website. So if you go there and search for Safaa Fathy, I think the majority of the films that Safaa produces provide there for free, or documentaries, experimental films. What we did in this book, and that's thanks to Hamid Jabirha, the artist, friend, and designer of this book, is we incorporated the stills of that film into the book. So you can, and then later through correspondence between Safaa and Hamid, they went through different frames, and they chose, to align lines of the poem with the stills from the film. There are lots of them, but this to give you a tiny. You see it, right? A little bit of the layout and design of this text. Also, one little point when you see the book, you realize about editing, and that's my input, so that I have to explain it. The way text looks right now when you hold the book is as a result of a technical glitch. When Safaa sent the text to us, Al-Hashish, both the French and the English version, the English version had a little bit of glitch, the way that the lines of it were slightly sliding on each other. They were not quite center justified, because the poetry parts of it, the ones with line break, because the text also has prose sections, but the poetry sections, they were supposed to be fully center justified. But the text that I got wasn't fully center justified. And it was giving the unsettling feeling to me that I thought it really matches the text, the whole unsettling experience of reading this text, and also the experience of being on hashish when you're reading Al-Hashish. So I talked to Safaa and we decided to keep it. So in typesetting the book, what we did is we manipulated the text, and it's not usual. Sometimes you see the slidings and sometimes cannot, but for sure you're not really feeling comfortable if you really like a text to be aligned. And hopefully this will, I hope it makes you uncomfortable. That's what I'm saying, because the writing in itself tries to just shake the comfort of everyday life. So I really hope that that this deliberate mistake per se can add into that experience. And I want to see it also as a layer of translation, because this book is heavily based on writing in multiple languages and in translation. So, you know, we can maybe see this as a visual translation of this book. This book, as I said, it was originally written in French and then translated to English by the poet Safaa Fathy and Patrick Love. We're lucky to have Patrick join us today as well. Now, when we're listening to Safaa reading the work in English, I want to, and maybe later for the conversation, I'm just giving this little clue that maybe later all of us, because as I can see in the list, we all are very interested in the process of writing, translating, and multilinguality. Maybe we can think about this, and maybe we can comment on it later when the mics are open and we are all talking. This book is self-translated by the author. I want us to think about the meaning of self-translation, and then how interesting, because usually self-translation happens when author writes in their first language and then or vice versa, but it is either written or translated into the mother tongue. But this text is written and translated, both of them, into languages that are not poets' mother tongue. Another point that I want to draw your attention to is the musicality of the text. I've been fortunate enough, with my very limited knowledge of Arabic, to read Safaa's Arabic work as well. And, you know, with even less knowledge of French, I read this text in French too. And I know that Safaa's writing is heavily based on sonic structure of words and the music of writing. And I really am interested to learn more and want to know what everyone else thinks, that what happens to that music when it goes through translation. If an author who's a translator, who translates their own work, is thinking musically, are they translating the source text into the music known? And with music, I mean the cadences and the sonic structure used by the contemporaries of the poet in that destination language, in what is known as, you know, the music of writing in English. Does she translate exactly to that music, or does she translate with her own accent, with her own understanding of that music? And what does it have to offer musically to the experience of reading this text? So that's just to open the question, because thinking, you know, editing this text and dealing with this music, it really occupied my mind. So I really wanted to share that with you. And also, yeah, I'd love to always hear about self-translation, which I myself never felt very successful in it. Well, I've used helps. I have some people to thank before starting reading my own work. First is Hamed Jaberha, who spent so much time and so lovingly on this book. And it was beautiful to see this long distance friendship shaping. Hamed works from Tehran, between Safaa and Hamed, and, you know, reaching decisions together. And I remember at some point Hamed had a dream of Safaa, that they were having this intense conversation. So it was amazing to observe that and be there and actually be the interpreter and simultaneous translator of this communication. I need to thank the group of writers that we worked together, although this text is written before our collaboration started, but then Safaa was, you know, sharing a lot of this writing with us, and Elizabeth Willis, Anne Waldman, and Sarah Riggs here were people who wrote blurbs about it and helped me a lot in putting this work together. I need to especially thank Tamas Foundation for their support of this project. And of course, thank you to Hajar and Kes for being there and helping everyone. So this was the editor's work. Now I'm doing a little bit of reading of my own work, which absolutely has no place, but Safaa asked us. First, I read a part of a poem that we wrote collaboratively with Elizabeth Willis, Sarah Riggs, and Anne Waldman to Safaa. This was shaped as a part, as a long email that we borrowed words from our conversation and from each other's writing, and we all wrote to Safaa. This is a very short excerpt of that. Dearest Safaa sonnet, draw this with your hair on your sistered pages, a passionate health, beloved at birth, vibrates and meet your words in all their dances. Wash the earth with rose water, wash the freezing rain. For gentlest of rains, now sun lights up the stars like pieces of bronze, slanted, and the earth, with your voice above, walks on the trails of its celestial court. It keeps you safe, even from Haq Ta'ala, when your sisters of all different times sing to your smooth hair. Now, another piece, this one is written in correspondence with Safaa, and after our conversations on editing Al-Hashish, so there's some relation with the text, and this is written as, not exactly as Safaa and I, but it was part erasure of the Arabic and Persian history, literature, history text. So, yeah. Patron died in poverty. Poems survived. Odes preserved. Limbs dismayed. Cast grief. Translation attempts cut out with sword blades. Dust pollutes the air like Layla's smiles. Her locks stray. Life was first offered from Arabic to Persian, a piece of medicine, having given to escape, victories to recover. Then, in the heyday of poets, gratitude loosens, she says. Belonged to a class whose existence depended upon the generosity of flatter. Let him bind or let him loosen. What he takes becomes what he loses. Feet of fortress, fast to cull a form. Loss comes to forms, objects of skill, in verse, still. Between having outlived each other and bringing labor to be handed down to the spirit, it roused anger. Exalt me, knee-deep in gold, carried to objection as perspective is a grave fault, says he, now in his old age. Worth is less than need. He was a man of many parts, beside afterwards the art of healing. Well, he died and buried, been scary, is said. Dramatic, at least. When princes competed with timbermen in Ghazna, the loosely knit empire begged Baghdad for Carmathians, like the rest of hidden existence, mystical system, and its evil significance. Travelers seem to have been conditioned to many foreign lands, to elsewhere, to today, to the Margil, to 2 great canals. 3 months since we had untied our hair to put coppers into the bath. 9 spheres and 7 stars cast away or sleep in its roots, full of marvels without number. Take the images to break the philosopher's stone. Reality is itself. Besides, love must be within its own barrier, speechless 100 voices, gone and fallen to ruin, like a bird without power of flight. What can I say? Ideas employed metaphors to add beauty to concern, merely without revealing the form. And now the real deal. I'm going to read you a little bit of Al-Hashish, this section. Haschische of sand, wild plant of a long lifespan, fixes the sand. This is the section. Find the leg of Avignon, the joy of Minia, the pause of the East, summer luz in Paris, jumble and jostling of London, places that carry me in the station, in the halt of you. They were afraid you were phantom, black silhouette, bubble shrieking silence, pushed onto roads of solitary paths. She was arc out of nowhere. I am at the root of buried remains, that pulverizing lateness, flowers, agaves grow from the future. The veil is one with the skin. In vacuum pleasure, only you can see it. Yes? Pleasure? I share. You share. We share. The earth. Beautiful, Safaa.
Thank you, Ghazal John. It's wonderful how I picked up the exact same spot in the Hidden Valley film to talk about it, but now you read the section in the textual format of it. So that's amazing that we both gravitated toward the same section. But I also loved your own poem, how from the beginning it became like in the beginning lines, they were just the subject and verb, but then it expands and becomes more and more expansive. And I always liked um, how you just kind of merge all kinds of histories against each other. And that's really beautiful. Thank you for reading.
So much.
Um, so now I'll introduce Sarah Riggs. One of the downfalls of being an exophonic poet in English is like you don't get to know all these beautiful, important works that everybody else know and are aware of, and then suddenly you're like realizing that, oh my God, there's so many poets who I've never read and I'm not familiar, and Sarah Riggs is one of those poets for me that I haven't unfortunately been able to check her work yet, but I'm looking forward to do it soon, especially now that the destiny is making me do it. But I know and I'm familiar with Sarah Riggs' work with Omar Barada over the the publication that they have, in which they also have brought in these translators to do beautiful work at Tamas. And I think you're also working toward an artist residency in Marrakesh. I think I have heard since the last gossip. But I'm really looking forward to that opportunity and to see what would come out of it. But Sarah Riggs is a poet, artist, and filmmaker. Her most recent book of poetry, The Nerve Epistle, which came out with Roof Books in 2021, included letter poems in conversation with Rachel Levetsky, Julie Patton, Serena Sue, and Waldman, and others. Riggs has received prizes for her book, Poem and Granite, which was published by 1913 press in 2015, and her translation from the French of Ito Adnan Time was published by Nightboot in 2019. Rick's poetry has been translated into French, Arabic, Japanese, and Italian, and she lives in Brooklyn. We are so delighted to hear her read some of her works and help us launch this book by Safaa John Fathy. The floor is yours, Sarah. You're muted, I think.
Thank you so much. I love blendings of cinema and poetry, and it just happens so marvelously in this book. And I'm going to read the section Haschische of the Dragon, Rare Plant. Begged letter, vanished in the desert of cold fire. Subject, R.E. Jenny, machine for spinning cotton. Date, Monday, 4th August, 2003, 1945. That's the time. From ole furole at yahoo.com to V, conversation, Jenny. Dear V, it's hard to know what to say in gift to someone when they have reached the bottom of the pit of despair. It is a place of such weariness and a kind of crushing humility. It seems as if something is breaking in eternity, a place our souls aren't supposed to know, like a living death. Then, since we are organic and regenerative, since we forgive and learn to weep without tears, somehow we recover. At least this was my experience of abject and complete despair. I returned in time. I forgave, kind of. And I remember I will send you some of my heart in hopes you can have a moment's respite. And yes, I agree. With love, Jenny. Dear cotton spinner, time is unforgivable. Give me my life back. May I become unfaithful. She is without pain in the dead point. She is in retreat up to the non-point. She lost her shadow, unforgivable. The editing, hidden valley attached. It takes time. It's good to bring the chimerical to the raw material and adjust it later to the cut. Start with the excess and multiple, like youth, then withdraw to the right economy of the old. Alone, you close your door after the night, after the winds that flow over the banks, even on marble and a giant heart where I lay my pirated days. Murano, don't you see? The hereafter. Look at the cities, Toledo, Lisbon, Coimbra, Algiers, Cairo, or do you sojourn in the belly of an Easter pomegranate next to a cat sparkling in the courtyard? Where did you travel? At the third sun rises the brazenness, the fury in Mary Curie's inside is the name of the hunger of a salt tree, of a fulminating desert, of the drool of time. And convent brings you the bread kneaded in the night that still drags the witness to the corridors, to the starred floor. Dive. The mirror restrains me on the edge of the famed face. When will these tears release you from the earth? Viviendo. She had non-color eyes. From blackness, the dress rambled from the forewords and what follows. Red lantern or this candle. Without saying, without verbs, in music. The nameless name sets the streets ablaze in front of this other mirror where the red was smile of a buffoon of plants and a neighbor who gifts the street for the encounter, this spot car. So you will discover for yourselves how brilliant Safaa's book is. And she has been so inspiring to me these last couple of decades. And I wrote my first letter poem in the Nerve Epistle was to Safaa. So she started that book. So I'll read it to you. July 15th, 2017. Dear Safaa, I saw the wind reach through your ears again, and you made a huge smile in words, flashing through your teeth. It was the unseasoned hour of breathing fish, and our gills were choked with massacre, the rain along the avenues coming out red. We were getting younger in our palms, turned and curled in through these mornings or night hours. It was said so, fleeting and winded. You in the sun for a second, having to come out blue, and the verdant decorations, all we could think of subtly to that mark. Some kind of wound held together by separation, never to know the end of it, transitioning back to the inner thoughts made up of dominoes and concrete leaves. Several thousand people had fit into that square, thinking it was a circle of souls. The bodies separated out, and we were left with maps and archives, some branches and ancient intuitions. These lines weave through yours, and the thinking goes around, far into where we will be. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. And I juggled down some of the lines, circles of souls, and these lines weaves into mine was the last word, or maybe I missed it. But beautiful, beautiful work. And I can't wait to read more of your work. The third reader on our lineup is Elizabeth Willis. It's so hard for me to say anything about Elizabeth Willis poetry without talking about myself, because by necessity they are linked to how I think of poetry as this medium where so much can be contained in so little of a space without the need to be chronological or orderly. So in this way, I think it's inevitably divert attention from somebody who deserves it so much more than me, and therefore try to keep it very minimum. When I first read Elizabeth Willis's plot, which was, I think she did a beautiful reading of it at Pure Lights. The record is available on YouTube if you were to had some time to delight yourself with some poetry readings online, as some of us poet nerds do sometimes. But I was struck by the substance of this poem and how everything kind of gathers in this poem, all of which by the repeating expression of which came first. And it's a beautiful, exquisite poem, and it really taught me what it means to have faith in the experiment of a poem and what to do with that. What to do with these cliches of language. Elizabeth's most recent book, Alive, came out with New York Review of Books in 2015, and it was a finalist for the Pulitzer Prize. Other books include At Rest with Wesleyan in 2011 and Meteoric Flowers with Wesleyan in 2007. She works at the Iowa Writers Workshop, and I believe she's also working on a new book of poems, which we are very excited for. Elizabeth, please read from your work and help us think in more creative ways about Safaa Fathy's book.
Thank you so much, Hajar. And I must say to everybody present, if you haven't read Hajar's first book, which is out from University of Iowa Press, I really encourage you to do so. Its title is Disbound, and it's an extraordinary work. And yeah, it's a little overwhelming to be here because I feel I feel like it's such a privilege. It's been such a privilege to be part of this group of writers, including Hajar and including all of my sisters in this translation and writing group. I've been thinking about how translation is connected with magic, that it is a vehicle of transmitting something from one location to another. And so the fact that we were working on talismanic texts together, and the fact that we came together again around Al-Hashish has just been a great joy and has had a kind of magical quality to it. Yeah, Safaa, this is just an incredible book. So I will read first a passage from Haschische of the salamander plant bird tongue, and then I will read a short piece from our collaboration. Is my sound okay?
Yes.
Okay, because I wasn't hearing very well earlier. That's great. She indulged in occult sciences, and this or that started well before the announcement of the void. Open the book 3 times at random, the last time 6 times. The answer traces the passage that closes the pages, opens the book, the return of a cut against another passage in the rock, the night buried within me. In the early morning of things, I have the gestures of the ordeal. A woman prowls in weight and oblivion, ocean trench, where detaches itself the red silhouette of yesterday. In Macedonia, that Serbian poet followed you like your shadow. I was mounting a film, I mounted a horse, scar badly healed, expecting the unknown. Nonetheless, and just for the record, it dishonors the news. She was spat out. She came out of the mouth in sea ink. She wriggled into the being of the world. The news that dishonors effaces the features, erodes the traced lines, wounds the forgotten, shakes the eyes and ears, pierces the mountains, slits them with a blow of a diamond, shattered into round multiplicities. Then she started begging. A hypnotizing voice poured the words into the ear, stuck to the avenue of good news. Without image, stretched out in the shade of the roses, hypnosis against a blue curtain. Bending is seeding of destiny. Beg. Then let go the cord in reverse, sky against earth, eyelashes stick. Emergence, trickling. The return, liquid blossoming. Okay. Of an impossible poem to follow. So I'm just going to read a short excerpt from my part of the collaborative work that we did. Sort of called Apart, and I'll just read a little bit of it. Now I see in your presence. Actually, can they turn on, as many people as are willing, turn on their cameras? Because it's just would be so nice for a moment to see a few more faces. That's so lovely. Thank you. That's great. Oh, hi, Tyrone. It's great. Okay. Now I see in your presence how the text thinks through you. This is the bush on fire. This is the river of what? The body carrying another on its back. This is a way of describing a life or a script. Here are the documents, little boat aiming at the wide, wide shore of an ancient Paisley, of an industrial town. I see the eye and the body inside it walking upside down. The nail is a nail. The hand may be a weapon or an instrument, as a tree may tell the story of a tree, or a lesson in adornment, not everything, but what we have. A colonial pattern continues to exert itself in the honey of my mother tongue. Melissa, come quickly, I can't find the car. So we ask of the translator the task of the agitator. Her words are in the eye of a storm that has a name, meaning it is by asking that we arrive. In this way, the end comes before the beginning. I come to the barn like the animal I am, light shaking into dark, like the fist of a flower or the fire that swings a bell. We must all go to hell as a species. A salt crystal may eventually touch everything in the world. My regards, as they say, meaning I place the full distance of my vision up against your eye. So, beloved sister, what brings you to Earth today? Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Beautiful. Anne Waldman is our second to last reader. Everybody knows Anne's valuable and critical work in mobilizing and founding institutions that continue to support and promote poetry, including the Poetry Project at St. Mark's Church in the Bowery and the Kuriak School at Naropa University in Boulder, Colorado, where she's currently the artistic director of the annual summer writing program. Of course, Waldman is also a prolific poet and most recently has authored Bard Kinetic 2023, a memoir with poetry, essays, interviews, and has co-edited with Emma Gomez who speaks Catalan and has authored a chapbook for Pamenar Press titled A Punch in the Gut of a Star. Actually, it's a punch in the gut of a star. It doesn't have an article. Uh, uh, and also, it's a beautiful work. I encourage you all to read.
That's perhaps me writing the bio.
Yes,
The
yes.
article, sorry.
And they have also co-authored a volume of anthology on poetics from Naropa Archive that was published in 2022. And what else? What else can one say about Anne Waldman poetry, right? I don't know. Like I'm made responsible to talk about these master works, and I'm like, why am I here? So let's listen to Anne read a little bit, and also, I think I think she's going to read as the screen shows a portion of the Safaa Fathy's book, followed by their own work. Let's welcome Anne Waldman.
Thank you so much, and a great honor to be here and with this company and celebrating this masterful book. And I think of Safaa's Cine Poetics. It's just always with me. When I was working on a text called Sanctuary, where I didn't know her as well as we do now. We still have to meet in person, and her work is very much with me. But that book, in a way, is dedicated to her. Sanctuary, coming on the heels of so much difficulty in our world, and looking at her movies, writing that. And then I'm very grateful for collaboration we did out of the Christine de Pizan City of Ladies and so on, which is a longer piece, and I hope we'll see the light of day soon, where we intervened on text together. And I have a little bouquet of works for her that I'm putting together. but I will start with reading from this great, it's a kind of epic poem. I mean, in that you continue the music of it on the page. So I'll start with a little Haschische of milk, wild plant, Pharmacon. Yen is gone with 2 bouquets, 2 mysterious in white and red, 2 hearts, white rose, red rose, 2 hands, an injured eye, a Korah tree assumes you, ferments you, raises you, straightens you, gathers you, sprout, cuttings on budding leaves. So the day you weren't there, it is black, the desertion of the Kaminanda. Rather than me, meanwhile, and ever since, the walk watches over the road. Amo, pardon, the when not to be born, or the where not to be born. The impossible is shock, is rock from the outset. Don't go there. Don't go before me. Your feet run, lengthen, germinate the other's skin. I build a beautiful white house, una casa blanca, by the burial. I hear the beat of your feet, the air thick, humid, impetuous, melting velvet. Day beats, Desirme, the religion of flowers, lives, sap the rose at 11 table, or Warda in the lily garden, and I in chance. The death knell, the glass, the suit forever gray, chased my green truth. In every street, in Paris, a ring lifts the time of always you day, and that's where words fail. Crazy ordeal, wanted to expect a happy event, encrust a light, encrust a Spanish diamond, Mexico, on the return from returning, Ithaca, cordial corner, cardinal of Toledo, and an otra ciudad of the mismas cosas, Toledo, the other of Santa Maria la Blanca, boxes yellowed with letters, a blind me, and streets in the bellies of the streets. A single hand is the witness, and an eye at the keyhole, don't you think? In the antechamber of the other, the mountain carries me, feet outstretched. White was this coral hand. Fill the page, a line traces a waterway, mountains, the sea, rivers, the 2 rivers merge, upright and beside. Is there an absolute witness? And quanto a me, the clock, serpent me, in the shadow of references, vertigo, a window in the wall of the Condesa, to be under the water, solo, surf infinity, beyond the isle, the golden eagle, bearer of the body. The body of murmurs, self dissipates in a journey on foot over the stones and a night on silver sand. Thank you, Safaa. Just dropping my pages in. Yes, I'm sorry I didn't receive the book yet, so I'm sorry if I massacred some of the
There was just one thing that's the spider of references.
Oh,
You
the
said-
spider.
Isn't that a great line? The spider of
Spider
references.
references. So I'll just read something sort of recent that has Safaa in my mind and ear and heart. And thank you again to all of you and the attention to this work. Been studying, have a whole life's or years into studying the streets. You said, I said, you were on the street. Egypt's, I front those, I affront, I look at, and Manhattan, Continental Divide, its crack up, District Federale, Marrakesh, London, Java, Kedu Plain, and Route Matrix, Mahendro, Daro, and Varanasi, all the Ghats. So we'll always be in sacrifice to poetry, back a turn, centuries, a screed, origins, as if in a system of runnels, we might only know in song the earth runs dry. You'd like to be telepathic. I've been a lot on my mind too. And there's a lot on my mind too. A science of communities that needs decisive attention. What color dye in the body for the next text of plankton? What will survive come after such Indra of alchemy? Tell me bravery to be myself, oh, and you, poet, you escape, will escape. I have been studying how to play a gong, the strict time of the slendro, how to reach beyond a ghost. Ghost could only die once. You mean ashes in a fascist enterprise? All the malevolent demons beamed up the scale. So that's a clutter, getting there, up a ladder designed for Satan, and the tank in the car last night, and the tank, and about how all these religious fanatics were mad for devils. Cotton Mather, mad for devil, and my informant had kin on both sides, many women at the stake, without attachment, stand in for starlight, that the conjunction, the compunction you met at the Atmospheric Research Center knows best a way to carry you away. Science's demonology, one last chance in a flutter of flitting light that will not meet in your lifetime again, be your mount of ruminations of the mystic hidden treasures you study. What animal do you ride? What pedestal are you on? Who? What is your mount? You need a diamond beam to see in the acculturation of the modest me, of passing of the planets in the night. I mean, I do in dreams. I'll meet you, Safaa, where what was sworn there? Were you my sister, mother, brother, lover in the room? Conjured she, the emphasis was on the save the burning house, save the image, arms, or the seance you offer, a kind of funny table wrapping, save your shelter as you keep moving, was studying the way war might return. It did, and talk about it again, displacement of the human to what end? And as the white army fuses the capital, lots brewing a drawdown, as you expose the cage opening to the new, this is the latest, the oldest, the newest century. They'll let you out for a little while to write your economium. You said you've been. How are you going to spring it out? De Kooning's door to the water, one pink rush of his cheeks. Oh, dear de Kooning, keening as he lost all but memory of paint and brush. Men with new art spears come your way, and they keep coming, and they keep coming, and the women and all between keep coming, new spears coming your way. Talk about the dead moving through the art walls and jumping if you conjure them, and the proper note of sound. And we heard her, a political ghost in the car, rattling a mantra. Talk about return, eternal, the winter solstice, a tattered tale you conjured then, just standing outside between my art eyes to enter the waterfalls. You can't see them, thinking, may I memorize this painting one more time? Will it be my rocket to when the well runs dry, as energy pathways sustain life cinematically on the tongue? How you study the taste of uprising incendiary, how you study taste of blood as science stumbles to do it better, a model of disaster better, a taste of water. Is that real water? Talk about the time when astrophysicists did not do her job for you. Then you would look up any way you wanted to. Then why not get off into space and be glad it can be gotten, can get ritual of an implement as an implement buried in the ground. You will not be there to attest to, but above ground data flow have been the way social media is ripping us apart, hidden in crystal or secreted in an herb on a tree, hidden plain sight, or the literal sky. Lukács might doubt his theater if he had lived. People are complicated, as a mob scene is. Modesty is such a clue, avoiding the abyss, and you went to the streets with your camera. We'll tell the story of how be better angels, bitterns perhaps, as if that is a headline or that most worked up word today that says it all. Unprecedented. Unprecedented, as in a time how overused we are all in now, precisely indented, indentured, and that in test America long ago. You want to stand here, how it tastes in the mouth, and you're over there traveling. Text interjected here, all about freedom, funny word, mythological, and this is my body, a method, a memo of a Cathar. So what do I want to do? Leave the beauties of studying Cathay, and I will tell you, finding converts to the great poet, his fascist days, these days, and when the secret police come to bust the poetry reading, he held tightly on to occasion of it to be poet, and you said you'd be laughing, and I thought we'd all be starting a radio station on Mars. There was a lantern on before this nonsense started. For Safaa, thank you.
Thank you, Anbo, and thank you everybody who have come thus far to listen to Safaa Fathy's work. And I'm not going to hear them read from their own book by themselves, right? We have listened to many readings so far. So as the saying goes, only the poet does justice, right? So we are here to see Safaa read, and I'm not going to hold us back anymore. I just want to say that I'm very excited that this book exists, and thank you, Pamela, for publishing it. And if you all haven't seen the video that this book is taken its inspiration from, it's called Hidden Valley, and it's available on YouTube of Pamela Press. Go check that video out after this reading, and we are all here to listen to Safaa Fathy.
I don't know how to say it, but I'm totally speechless with the amount of friendship, of love I've been receiving from our friends, the group of women poets, with the collaborators of Ghazal, Hajar, which I saw for the first time. I am absolutely speechless with the friendship, the love, the talent, the support, the heart, which has been given to me all the last year, which was a very harsh year for me. And I've been sustained, and I've been helped to continue living, walk on my feet, thanks to these women, these friends who gave me the words I need and gave me the heart, parts of their hearts, sending it all the time. Every moment I needed it, it was there. And this is a manifestation of what happened in the past year. And it was one of the blissful moments of my life when we meet, either with all of them together or individually with each of them. It's a bliss, it's a grace. I only have my gratitude and I only have my love to give back. Thank you so much. So I'm going to read parts of Al-Hashish and have a little surprise at the very end to show, since I live in Athens now, a friend of mine who's a friend of another German friend who's here, Andreas Maucher. Hello, Andreas. Jürgen said that I'm getting Greek. So since I'm getting Greek, and we're having our Greek teacher here online just now, she gave us the grace to come on over. I will recite a little poem in Greek, which I've written not in Greek, but Vasiliki helped translating into Greek and helped me pronounce the words. Okay, let's go to my little reading, which I hope it's not too long. The shadow he is, a call from a mobile. Without conceiving the gaze doubled by a mirror, the features had looked back, the footstep here and there stumbles. It had been night message, written, breath, more than one word becomes corridor and passageway. Haschische of the salamander, plant, bird tongue. In the early morning of things, I have the gestures of the ordeal. A woman prowls in weight and oblivion. Ocean trench where detaches itself the red silhouette of yesterday. In the antechamber of the Condessa, the night boils, coagulates. The outstretched arms that see autumn, no. Lashes stick to one eye and the other weeps white. However, she was covered on a green ground. The black flowed needlewards and a towel remained mute. In her fury, she shuts the day, and madness lived on a steering wheel. Cross the lines. You make yourself furrowed. The girl a strand of hair and a hot coffee, a train. Go by my street again. Behind and front, so many lanes and nothing. We will not pass together. Alone in the meantime, leave a coat, a shirt, a tie. The soles of the feet regrow upright. Alone, you. Close your door after the night, after the winds that flow over the banks, even on marble, in a giant heart where I lay my pirated days. Marano, don't you see? The hereafter. Look at the cities. Toledo, Lisbon, Coimbra, Algiers, Cairo. Or do you sojourn in a belly of an eastern pomegranate next to a cat sparkling in the courtyard? Where did you travel? At the third sun rises the brazenness, the fury in Marie Curie's inside. is the name of the hunger, of a salt tree, of a fulminating desert, of the drool of time. And convent brings you the bread needed in the night that still drags the witness to the corridors, to the starred floor. Dive. The mirror restrains me on the edge of the faint face. De vez en cuando, untie your tongue, certainly feet, just as flayed, wherever I am for you, the black milk and the almond milk, for you the fungus that shelters me. Not far from there lies the body where you duplicate life. In the antechamber of the Condessa, wash with this stone, with rose water, the first name of before. Your number is a flower that closes the windows, the streets, and a journey on foot. Caminando, 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 caminando. The religion of fruit, the fruit, things, covered flesh, closed over a sack, foreign, it is genetic. A cell reigns, a cell weeps, and a genome plays the evil Jenny. Find the leg of avenue, the joy of Minya, the pause in the east, summer losing Paris, jumble and jostling of London, places that carry me in the station, in the halt of you. They were afraid you were a phantom, black silhouette, bubble shrieking silence, pushed onto roads of solitary paths. A gaves grow from the future. The veil is one with the skin and vacuum pleasure. Only you can see it. Yes, pleasure. I share, you share, we share the earth. The solar disk round, profound, alights on earth, inside, your face smiling, above I look at you, upside down, two shapes closed in north and south. The instant cuts both, binds, the today to tomorrow, exchanged on a semite grass. The madness of leaves, all leaves, small, big, high, low, eucalyptus leaves, celery flowers in the woods, lost, bougainvillea, jasmine, ears of corn, autonomous leaves in California, bunches of a succulent plant shelter us, lost, found, stolen, voyaged, flown, dead in the sun. The babbles of Egypt, red corals, Buddha's hand, the roses, the cuttings, the trees, the shoots, the rose bushes, the rose bushes. Greetings, greetings. My name is yesterday. My name is today. My name is Dondeva. My name is unnamed. The call of me remembers an apple, a breakdown of an umbrella in a mouse car, head for a fall. Counted things each day, each morning. The verb weeps, wave of the hand in greeting, greeting you in tropical airports, in entwined streets, in the towns of the white-figured desert, in blackness upright, near the daffodils under a hat. You saw the thing and you say, it will give us to eat. Detour, dar vuelta, imagine the machine, the layer, the rainmonger, the red silhouette, cherries on feet, cherries in images, frail pomegranate tree collapsing with fruit, papayas that make the sight fall towards the Seine, the banks in the afternoons, the murmur hands, the ams, the seams, the salacious, the keen to grow to papers with infinite contours of entrails, solstice in elevators, churches, temples, mosques, touches stolen from the Warda, typing mistakes, days held back, nowhere else. Gush, gush, spurt, day cheats, henna tints. The stem field vanished, the wave ingests the sand. The number you have dialed is not in service. Taken, forsaken, scattered under a tree in a lonely night of air. Sing, sing. The journey crosses the page on a white lines of no return, where there will be a second that leads you to the depths of you. You will swim in the turquoise water. You will come out with the coral in white hand. Your hand steeped in cameo, picks the GMOX protocol, sticks those hours to the eye. You will put your lips on a single finger of the index against the one. The burning stone is formed. You will carry it to the belly of the whale that eats the water. The salamanders are born of the void, dreamt the jujuba tree, the Japanese gardens, the joys of birth, the penalties of death, the twins, hyacinths instead of me, or rose bush, fig tree. They didn't grow from your death, nor from the soil of farewell. Lantern trudge, and what is left? 2 legs planted, fetal days, shines black sun, a pearl necklace ejected from a singing throat. Una Semana Santa, on the edge of April, morning atom, these 30 years would have split up the co-sendance, the anachronism received from a past angel, where there was ash, taught for lack of night, survive your death, descending your blackened lungs, these dispossessed. Enchain your lostness that the snow reads, envelope without a stamp, and the sand doesn't write the unforgivable seed and bark to sow where the soil is not lacking. But what I see curve, by what I see curve, the collapse of 2 rivers of fire has passed the ash road. Memory cover a date with a beautiful fern, with capsules of facts, with marine gestures, with lianas of words, roots that deplore the flight, hanging gray breasts in camellias at the corner of the farewell, dodge the bullet, entering the net, it pierces the hereafter, the inaccessible just. Smokers die younger, of whom are we talking? Of vox ontological? When she says tumor, tumors dropped anatomical, fallen into the slit, or on the crack made in the earth's face, countless death burst from the heart of nights of vigils. How many, too many times in a valley river with no name where my days do flow. A bubble, paligencia, transmigrate, sway, swap, sign, swans, murmur the water of the anacolasa. A house overcomes the back, erected, elongated, curved where I live. The bower spreads this bowl of rays, and your smoky gaze will waltz on a here below, above the always, wax Siamese of wood, of madrugada, of rosé, in the sea of joy, or this blissful desert, in wool, in once and for all, the thirsty teeth beat. Thank you.
Thank you, Safaa. Thank you, Safaa Fathy, for that beautiful reading. if you all can mute your computer so we can hear the clap, we would highly appreciate it as well.
We don't
Yes.
need to
Ah,
Hello.
we don't.
I got very excited and I totally forgot to read the bio. We have this thing in
It
Persian
doesn't
called
matter. Really, no, it doesn't matter at all. It's there.
No, we have this word in Persian that means like when you are taken by the pressure of the air, you know, and you forget where you had come from, you know. And so I totally forgot the formality of reading the bio, but the bio is available on the chat if anybody wants to read more about the wonderful work that
I
Safaa
quite
Fathy has
liked
been.
it because, like I started hating to hear my bio because I know it
Yeah.
so much that I don't.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter
absolutely.
bios.
We can get a little redundant.
Yeah, it is redundant.
Yeah. But one of the few things that I want to highlight in the bio is that, as Ghazal Jan already mentioned, the films are available on Tamas website. I think all the films are available. So if you want to watch any of the films, please do so. They're free, and they may not always be free, right? That's the thing with the free films. If they're free, just watch them. There might come a day that the free films are no longer free. Okay, so what else? That was the thing I wanted to mention. Read the bio. I also wanted to mention that the links are available for you to purchase the book. It's you can find the book on pamenorpress.com/shop. Um, we also offer at Pamanor Press a bundle. You can buy a whole bundle of all the books that at Pamanor have published within that particular season or even a year if you're feeling generous. Also, please, if you can also support us by becoming a member and purchasing a yearly membership. And in that way, I think Pamanor will send all the books as well as a bundle. There's also even though this reading was free, please, if you can, there's a link for donation. We suggest €5, I think, right? Or £5 donation. I don't know the currency, but the number 5 was there. So $5, £5, €5 is the suggested donation. I want to thank everybody who have read thus far and everybody who have joined us from various locations in the universe. If you want to stay informed about the other titles that Pamanor publishes or newsletters, please subscribe to our newsletter and follow us on social media. The recording of today would also be available on YouTube channel of Pamanor Press, as all readings in the past are, I think, available on the YouTube channel. Um, uh, what else? I also wanted to thank Khashayar for technical management of everything and allowing everybody in. Thank you for your support throughout this session. We didn't have any technical difficulty and it was marvelous. Thank you, Khashayar. I think those were the things I had in my list. If I'm missing something,
I'm gonna read my little poem in Greek for for
yeah, absolutely.
I ask
Yeah.
forgiveness from from the Greek speakers here, but just like I like to sign. This is my signature of the
Absolutely,
event.
yeah.
It's
And
called,
we will get back after the reading as well to talk.
it's
To talk
called
about.
Thalassa, which is C. So Thalassa. It's very small. Thalassa. Metin apusia tisfoni su. Mea munadiki ikona. Stoccato filiton polon. Lei tupera apototora. I parsi mia puli. Chiena miralu mavro ctirio. Di Assisi to Zoimu apoto paralson. Mati ikini timera. Ottani fono isu. Se frisi mesa Mesa te atemo. Se acusa. Se acusa. That's it.
Wow. New language.
Yeah.
So, Hajar, what do you think about maybe we unmute ourselves, and if you have any comments, maybe.
Really. If you have any thoughts, comments, if you want to say brilliant, beautiful, thank you, or anything else, it doesn't have to be a formal question. Please feel free to say anything you
That was a
want to share.
gorgeous reading, Safaa. It was just stunning. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Beautiful.
thank you. Thank you. Above all, thank you. I am really completely humbled by your generosity.
It was very, very beautiful. Thank you all so very much.
Oh, thank you, Benjamin. Thank you, my dear friend, my dearest friend. Thank you, Beatrice, you're there.
We're very moved.
Thank you.
It really was a gorgeous reading. It's a beautiful text. I'm actually really glad that Anne needed to have it on the screen. I also don't have a copy of it, so I was shuffling some papers, but it was great for people to see this, like the gorgeous setting of it and just a little bit of the image.
Yeah,
Bank.
true.
Yeah.
True.
Nicely done, Ghazal.
Thanks. It's all
thanks,
Hamed's job.
Thanks, Hajar.
Thanks to Hamed.
Thanks, Hamid, of course. I hope he sees that sometime.
Oh, he's yes.
Hamid is my friend. He's a really great friend.
Yeah.
I've never seen him, but it so happens that I am friends with people I don't see.
It was incredible, this long distance Tehran, Paris, Athens work.
It's also wonderful to feel the proximity of all you women poets. It's very, very lovely.
It's a fantastic circle, Benjamin. I mean, it has been a lifeline for me, absolutely, to be together for the past, I don't know how many years now. And the work we've done together, the things and the meetings, it was just fantastic.
Yeah, Liz is giving you a cheat time, 3 years. Bit more than that, but yeah, 3
At least 3.
How many?
Yeah.
3? 3?
A little bit longer than 3.
Well,
Well,
I think it's more. It's longer since we did the talismans.
Yeah.
I mean, it preceded that.
I think
also,
Safaa and I
but-
started 2019 working on that.
I started with
We as a
Ghazal
group
on
did
the
it on
talismans,
2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, Sarah is the organizer of all this because she's the one who put us all together.
Well, I'm humbled by
this is one of her
Ghazal's
absolute gifts.
I'm humbled by Ghazal's incredible skills to bring everyone together. It's been amazing.
He's sweet.
Arna's here, and so many people who helped us see the world as it really is.
Thank you, Robert Hampson wants to leave. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then the ghost in the room. Thank you, Patrick Love, for helping with the translation. It's a marvelous translation. It works beautifully in English. It doesn't feel like a translation at all.
Thank you, Patrick Love.
I sometimes, when I'm not turning the camera on, I'm nervous if people call me. I don't know how I look like. But yes, great. And Julie, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
What time is it there?
1:30.
Afternoon. Thanks, everyone. I loved hearing that. It's such a nice way into the book. And I was kind of curious about the process of the relationship between the film and the book. I don't know,
Where did you
Safaa,
go?
if you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah. What happened is that, I've been filming in view of making a poem, a visual poem. And so I had a lot of footage. It's kind of, they fed into each other. And then I wrote the book. The book is after the shooting. And then I did some more shooting after I wrote the book. So it's just like, the images were just like feeding into the words, and the words were feeding into images. And then at one moment, I just, went an editor and put the images together. And I chose parts of the book, of course, because you cannot use the whole book. And I would just, mingle them together in that kind of very dreamlike images, that kind of free association thing between word, image, colors, structures.
Yeah, thanks. That's great. Bye, everybody. I gotta run.
Thanks, Julie. It's really great to see you.
You too.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, great. Great, everyone. So great to hear everybody around this. The center, our sun, Safaa. No planets orbiting around. So I've got to go be a babysitter again for my grandchild. But I'm so
She's
grateful.
there, Cora. Yeah.
She's there. She's downstairs. She's been knocking at the door, but
Oh, right. Okay, that's fantastic.
for a moment.
All right.
I'm going to sign off too. So.
Okay.
Bye, Sarah.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Thank you.
See you next week.
Yes.
Okay. Seems like everybody is leaving.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
Ghazal.
I think something must have happened. I don't know why.
Yeah, must be some problem with her computer. Or
Oh,
something.
she's back.
Okay, back.
Stop recording.
Maybe by phone.
I pushed, I went away. It's just, I